podcast joint with Ciara.
Yo, what's up? This is T Money, and you are now watching the T Money podcast joint featuring Ciara Boss, or should I say Ross, the boss?
What's
of course,
up?
like Diana. What's up there, baby? What's happening?
Hey, how are you today?
I'm dealing with a lot of things going on today because we got one of the greatest rappers of all time here is my man Chip Fool in the building.
I like that introduction.
Yeah, what's up there, brother? How you doing, man? What's happening?
I'm great. I'm here with y'all, so I'm great.
Yeah, no doubt. You're Chip
Very
Fool,
nice to meet you.
a member of the Schnickens, for those of you who are true hip-hop fans. The
I had
Schnickens.
to go, fool who?
No question. No doubt, man. But Schnickens had it going on, man. You know, back in the in the 1990s, man, when all these groups, late 80s, 90s,
like
all these groups were coming out.
Like these young people say, the early 1900s.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. But the Schnickens were doing their thing. How you doing there, brother? You good?
I'm great, man.
Yeah?
No complaints.
Yeah, it's good seeing you, man.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, no question, man.
Good seeing you.
So listen, so we're gonna kick it because we usually when we get people on the show, we like to talk about their beginnings, right? So talk to us a little about your beginnings. You know, I know you're. Unless I'm wrong here, tell me if I'm wrong. You're from Brooklyn, correct?
Yes, Brooklyn.
Yeah. What part of East Flatbush?
East Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's where the group actually. The group comes from East Flatbush, Brooklyn. I grew up with Pac Fu. He actually lived directly across the street from me. You know, his grandfather and my father were good friends. So we knew each other since we were like 10 years old.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Wow.
Always into music. Always into just being creative. Pac Fu later came because he went to high school, FDR High School with Pac Fu. So
okay.
That's how the group, originated. East Flatbush Brooklyn. We all grew up together.
How did the name originate?
Listen, I'll be very honest with you. The group and the name, that's Pac Fu and Mac Fu.
Right.
You know what I mean? They came up with the
It's
name.
It's an acronym.
Yeah,
Am I correct?
acronym meaning fusion.
Fusion.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And they came up with the name first. They were in the group already, Mac Fu and Pac Fu. I actually had to come up and audition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I auditioned.
Y'all played him like that?
Had
son?
to earn this spot.
I had to earn my spot, but it was weird because it was like a barbecue audition. Like they was having a barbecue, and it was like, yo, man, just come audition. Let me hear what you got, whatever. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna come.
So talk to me first before that. Like, at some point when you're growing up, you either become like a writer, or you're part of the hip hop community in some way, and you visualize yourself being a rapper. When did you know that you had the skills first to be a rapper? Because I tried to rhyme like you guys before, and that just didn't work. It just didn't work for me. So I mean, I think that lasted 2 days. That was it. You know what I mean? But how did you know that you had the skills? That you had the verbiage, that you had the style to be the rapper that you was soon to become?
I think my brother. My brother told me. My brother's the one who introduced me to music.
Shout out to the brothers.
Big up to my brother.
No doubt.
And there was a group called the Jam-A-Lot Crew that lived on 55th. We lived on 56th Street in Church and Snyder in Brooklyn. The Jam-A-Lot Crew turned out to be UTFO later on. Now, the Jam-A-Lot Crew played for my brother's 16th birthday party. And when they played for the 16th birthday party, I asked them to get on the mic to do a happy birthday rhyme for my brother. They allowed me to. When I got on the mic and was rhyming, Educated Rapper told my brother, he was like, yo, that little kid right there, he's nice. You need to just keep an eye on him.
Right.
So that's when I knew, because later on in the years, my brother brought back an album and was like, remember that guy that said that you were nice or whatever? This is him, and they have an album out. This UTFO, Roxanne. And I was like, I was just mesmerized that somebody that told me I was nice at a young age,
right?
Was doing, and from that day on, I took it very serious.
That's what's up, bro. Well, that's dope, man. You have to do that, man. That happens. When I realized I wanted to do hip hop and be part of this whole hip hop thing was when I was a kid, and I DJ'd in my parents' basement.
Oh, see,
right. But I DJ'd on like the home equipment. You know what I mean?
That's where it all starts.
But like the big stereo that had the radio connected.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I I'm thinking I'm doing something. You know what I mean? So, and then I used to sit in the basement and like emulate Run DMC too. Like
Nice.
I knew I was DMC. I knew that.
Nice.
You know what I mean? But it's all good, man. So so you guys come together, right? And eventually you land yourself a deal with Jive, right? You know. So how did that come about? Like who signed you?
Sophia Chang signed us.
Oh,
over at Jive.
salute to Sophia Chang,
Salute
my girl,
to
man.
Sophia Chang.
My girl, man. I love her, man. That's my people's.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
She signed us. What happened is we were doing all these club competitions, and I think that we really got noticed. There was a competition where there was hip hop versus reggae, and Jamal Ski was. Jamal Ski put it together. So we needed to get as much attention as possible from the industry. So what I did is I joined the competition, and I joined for both sides. Like I was going to do reggae and then do hip hop.
Right.
So I won the competition on both ends, on the hip hop side and the reggae side, and then that's what got the attention of the industry. And then from there, when everybody started talking about us, we did Howard's Homecoming, and I think that's when they really saw it, because there was a battle that ensued. You know, there's a lot of people, Ed OG and the Bulldogs, leaders of the new school, and us. You know, a lot of people will laugh, and I ain't gonna front because we came out there with the Chinese geese. And
Right.
And I have so many questions. Can we just stop and halt and talk about this Ring the Alarm video?
Right,
What
we
is
can
going on with y'all flying around in Chinese boxes and then the suits?
Let me tell y'all something.
That was your idea?
Oh, wait, where's the camera?
You
Right
want to speak to
there.
the audience?
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
camera's right
You
there,
right
brother.
there.
Understand this, right? That was not our idea. First and foremost.
Okay, so the label
was like, listen, you guys, we're gonna try something different, and I think that's the first time that green screen was used at some point, because you saw the thing flying, and I was like, I was sitting there while they was filming it, right? So when they said that they were gonna make the carton fly, it was a dude at the side saying, "Y'all ready?" And he's tossing the carton in front of the camera, and I'm like, nah, bro, like this is really gonna turn out different and corny.
Wow.
But here's what I'm gonna say. After all of that, Ring the Alarm went gold. I was happy for that.
Of course.
Ring the Alarm went gold in the U.S. and gold in Canada. But, you know, it was that there's always the stigma behind that, the video. It was like, yo, bro, you in a Chinese box. Like, where was the food and all this other stuff? And I was like, you know, you got to answer like, I was standing on the food and all sorts of stuff. But, you know, but other than that, I mean, that was camera. Yeah, that was the label. That wasn't Schnickens.
Okay.
That wasn't us. Nah.
But I honestly think that, contrary to what you possibly thought at the time, it's still being spoke about today. Because even if you don't know the song itself, if I mention you flying around on Chinese cartons,
See,
it still works.
See, but I lived in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. So when I came, you know, coming back to Brooklyn, they snapping like, yo, bro, like,
Yeah, because you got Chinese cartons and the Chinese
cartons,
the hats and
the
everything.
hats and everything.
Yeah, wild
But
out.
I think the best part about that was we were able to get the attention of a lot of people. Like our manager at the point in time was Phil Pabone. Shout out to Phil Pabone.
Oh, shout out to Phil. No question.
R.I.P. to Phil Pabone.
Oh, yeah, no question. Salute.
We were able to get,
brother.
you know, the attention of the industry that way. You know what I mean? So it was the point where you have all the ciphers and you see somebody come in a cipher with the straw hat on, and everybody's like, yo, who does he think he's some grandmaster dude? I flip the hat up and be like, yo, who won it? And that's how it started. And the industry was like, yo, we got to sign them kids because they not afraid. You know?
Yeah, but at that time, everything was, you know, at that time, man, music, the golden era was incredible, bro.
Very.
Like you had all these groups coming out every week. I mean, people don't really understand.
No, they don't.
The veracity of releases that were happening at the time. I mean, you had Public Enemy came out at the time. I think NWA came out at the time. I mean, all these different type of elements, all these different vibes, and you guys came in with your diversity and made it work. You know what I mean? So, so talk to me a little bit. I mean, you guys had a lot of hit records, man. You know what I mean? And we played them on y'all. You know, it was really cool. I mean, especially with the Chinese hats and all that.
Yeah.
But at some point, you guys linked up with probably one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and Shaquille O'Neal. My guy, salute to Shaquille if you're watching this. Yeah, and you know, that combination was crazy, man. Like, you know, Shaq to this day probably he walks around telling people that he's like the greatest athlete rapper ever.
He is actually.
Right? You know what I mean? So I mean, but did you guys was he able to rhyme when you first met him, or did you teach him how to rhyme? Or
no,
how did that work?
You know what it was? I think all he needed was that push.
Right.
I think this was something that he actually had on his mind for a while, because you got to remember, He's the only athlete right now that could do windmills. If you ask him to do like
Oh, no question. I seen him.
Breakdance windmills, he could do windmills.
He'll break the cardboard out himself and do it.
He'll do windmills. He's the only athlete that I know that'll jump on turntables and can catch certain records at certain points and blend and mix and all that other stuff. You get me? So he was really a student of hip hop, but I just think that he just needed that chance. So I remember when we met with him and we went to the studio, first and foremost, What's Up Doc was recorded like 2 years prior, but we couldn't release it because the Space Jams was out at the time, and you know, with the whole Bugs Bunny sample and everything else, we couldn't release it. So what we did is we said we're just going to chant the chorus. So the song was finished and we had it in the can waiting. When we met with Shaquille was, you know, we went to the studio. He was like, yo, I got, you know, bars, etc. We was like, yo, spit something. He went in the booth and spit something, and then I was like, you know something, we already have a record. It would make sense because it's about What's Up Doc, and he's a basketball player that could rhyme. And I think that the only thing he needed was just guidance, you know what I mean?
Right.
That was it. He walked in there, his paper, I keep telling people in interviews, he had a piece of paper that looked like he had mad tape on it, and it had pieces of the rhyme he wrote, or a rhyme that he wrote that he was practicing for a while. So when he got in there and started rhyming, it was just about pacing himself, and when he finally found his pocket, that was it.
Yeah, man.
Took off from there.
The Shaq was amazing in the video too, man. You know, but so that time period was unbelievable when you guys were on Jive for a while. So talk to me about your experience on the label. You know, you come from Flatbush, East New York. I'm so sorry. East New York, Brooklyn.
Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Flatbush, my bad. Flatbush, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Salute to Brooklyn.
Shout out to East New York. I got cousins out there. That's my family.
I don't want nobody from Brooklyn looking for me. It's Flatbush.
Brooklyn.
Salute to Flatbush. But coming from Flatbush and you guys coming out with I mean, it's your first experience. You're coming out, you know, you're doing shows, you know, you're on the radio, right? And your record is moving. So walk me through that whole thing with the group, and how did that experience affect you guys?
Well, I mean, coming from a West Indian family, that was like the biggest thing in our household. Because, you know, you have parents that come from the West Indies. They migrate from Trinidad and Barbados to go to England to make a better life for the family. Then from England, come to New York.
And now you want to be a rapper.
Right, and you raising kids, and then one of your kids actually is like, yo, I got a deal. You know, so now you know, you play it forward and say, well, let me make the best for my family and make sure that my father and my mother don't have to work that hard anymore. So I guess that was the first thing that was on my mind, to be honest with you, because I looked at I said that if I was ever in their position, I don't know if I'd have been able to do it. To just pick up and be like, yo, I'm leaving what I know to go to England, what I don't know, and then fly from there to New York to another place that I don't know, to just for a better life for themselves first and foremost, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that changed. You know, the account was different then. We were able to pay for certain things, you know what I mean? And
you were born here?
Born in Brooklyn. The difference was how we were raised. It was like, whoever's next up, you make sure that they're okay. So I was in position to help my sister with college, and that was the best position for the middle kid to be. I'm a middle child, to be able to help my sister. So, you know, that's what changed for us. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. Yeah, record on radio and all that other stuff was fun, and be able to, you know, make the holidays in the house was great. You know what I mean? Making sure bills were paid, but, you know, making sure that I was able to help, you know, in the advancement of my family was the best thing for me.
May I ask you this question? And of course, it's related, but it's a little personal.
Go ahead.
Do you feel possibly, because you're not straight 100% American, that American culture, the American culture is completely different than, we'll say, the West Indians' traditions of the upbringing? Because like you just mentioned, you felt the obligation to help the next person under you. So that's instilled somewhere. But in my personal opinion, I feel like that is lacking in the American culture somewhere. And I don't know.
First,
do you agree with that?
Where are you from? Where's your family from? I got to ask that question first.
I get asked that all the time. I am American.
Okay, so I'll answer it this way. I've had debates with some of my friends, and they always said that West Indian people feel that they're better than American people, right? You know,
you hear that? Right. American blacks say that a lot.
American blacks say that, yo, when you come here, you think, you're better than this, and y'all carry yourself a certain way.
Yeah, so talk to me about that.
I'm gonna say what it is, right?
Yeah, please.
First and foremost, if you're coming to this country and you know nothing about it, your focus is totally different. We know nobody here, right? You come to a block where no one knows you, you have to focus. If you go into a school where nobody really knows you and, you know, everybody else is part of the neighborhood, they're not going to look at you first or pick on you first to do anything.
Right.
So you have to make sure that academically it makes sense to certain teachers, like, yo, you know, your son Roderick is in there and he's crazy when it comes to mathematics, or you have to find your spot. I think we were raised to understand that, listen, it's horrible in certain, you know, certain places that my parents come from. You get what I'm saying? You can't take care of kids there. So to go to England where you know, there's super prejudice at the time, to try to make a way for us or whatever is even more crazier. Then for you to come to New York to try to do that is different. So the focus is totally different. You know what I mean? I basically feel that how my father was raised is how I was raised. Now that's not saying that it was right. It worked for him at that time for him. It ain't gonna work at the same way for me, because it's a different time, different people, different focus and everything else. So we were raised to be like, yo, you have to be super focused when it comes to everything. When it comes to money, when it comes to everything, anything that's put in front of you, you have to do your best. You know what I mean? And we cannot fail. Like, failure is not an option. I remember going to high school and you know, my father was like, you need to take up a sport. I was like, yo, I'm gonna do soccer. He's like, yeah, they expect you to do soccer because of your background. So why don't you try out football?
Right.
Played football. They threw me into the fence one good time. I was like, nah.
Threw me in the fence.
Threw me into the
He
fence.
checked you out right there.
I was like, nah, y'all can't just throw me into. I didn't like the fact that you could throw me into the fence and it's just like you blow a whistle and go back to the line. Nah, we need to square up. You can't throw me into no fence and feel like that's
No good,
that's
right?
offensive for me to be thrown into a fence.
I get it, brother. No problem.
Right? So after that, they had boxing, they had all this other stuff, and I was just like, yo, none of these things are for me. So I said to myself, I'm gonna just deal with the music. So he said, if you're gonna take on music, you gotta be serious. So he was like, don't just go in there and play. So I learned how to play the trap drums, the alto saxophone, and I started, you know, writing poetry. So to them, it's like, all right, so he's doing something. So maybe he could become a part of a band or whatever. So I say all of that to say that the focus is always different. You know, coming to the country, you know what I'm saying? That it's always different. And me watching my mom work the two jobs. She's in school and being a nurse. That's a lot. My father's, at the time, he was a messenger and he worked for Chase. You know what I mean? So me watching that and them coming home and dealing with the bills, I was like, yo, I shouldn't be here playing. You know what I mean? I should make sure I do what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? And step up. So those conversations that I have with my Black American friends that I love, I have to let them understand that it's a total difference. And they have to understand West Indian people are just like Southern people. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
In what regard? Explain.
The regards of how you're raised, and when it comes to being focused and serious, it's the same thing. Even with certain foods, it's, you know, you got callaloo, they call it something else different. My wife is Southern. So sometimes we go back and forth and it's just like, oh, it's the same thing. Basically, we call it something different, but you know what I mean? So we find middle ground in everything. And she and I used to have those arguments. You know, your family always thinks, say, well, da-da-da. And I'm like, yo, that's not it. Because the real thing is this. And you always see this in the memes and everything, right? If you are going to marry into a West Indian family, you got to watch out for the mother and watch out for the sister, right? We're super protective over each other. So my sister was just like, nah, who this coming into the house? You know, she was super protective over me, and my mother was super protective over the sister and, you know, the entire house. Until they found out.
And I don't want to cut you off. I want you to keep going. But that's a major difference right there that you just said. From an American standpoint, culture-wise, and West Indians. Why? Because, like they always say, American women, and we'll just use African Americans, we are the most ones that's not protected X, Y, and Z. And a culture-wise, and, you know, I don't want to take this all the way left, so we're going to bring it back.
Right.
But we're very dysfunctional, and it's based upon an emotion. It's like we should be able to agree to disagree, but don't lose focus. And for your family, the focus is not lost. Like you just said, your sister, your mom is like, everybody understand their position.
Yeah.
flip that over to the American side. Everybody out here doing whatever they want to do. So there's no structure.
See, but that's the one thing that we pride ourselves on is understanding that there's a certain way you're supposed to move. You get what I'm saying? We understand that the elders are the elder. Somebody else walk into my house that's my father's friend, I can't call him by the first name. He's my uncle automatically. So I can't say Mr. Derek. I get licks for that. You know what I'm saying? My father be like, yo, that's your uncle. That's a friend of mine or whatever. So I'm like, Uncle such and such. His kids are automatically my cousins. You know what I'm saying? So I got friends that I knew from 3rd grade, and because their parents are West Indian, we're automatically, related. Till today, where people are just like, yo, aren't you related to so-and-so? I'm like, nah, bro, that's not really my cousin. But,
Right.
Since we went to school or whatever, that's what it is.
But that's interesting that that dynamic helps you, and it helps you as a recording artist because it kept you focused.
Kept me super focused.
Because you got to understand, like a lot of people don't really know because they're not part of this industry. But a lot of times you get involved in this industry, and if you don't have laser focus from the beginning, you get lost in it, because it's so easy to get lost in it. And that it's interesting that I'm hearing this from you because that tells me a lot about your character.
I'll say one thing. If you think about it, you've never really heard nothing about the Schnickens doing anything foolish.
Nah,
because
never.
of how Lennox was raised. His parents are from Trinidad. My parents, we understood that it was that code. You represent your last name. You don't represent you.
Right.
So if you walk out there and you
Say it again.
Somebody says, yo, Roderick Roachford, he's like, yo, bro, you represent the entire family, not you. You understand what I'm saying? And we used to have to say that to the other group member, Makfu. We used to tell them, if you go out there and you do something wrong, they're not saying Makfu, they're saying Makfu from the Schnickens. So the entire group, it's a problem for the entire group. They're going to look at the group a particular way. So that's why certain parties I never went to. I stayed away from them because I understood the energy in the room. And I understood if, I'm one of them dudes that if you say something wrong or you rub me wrong, I'm not going to be the dude that's going, bottom line, don't let the kung fu suit and all them things fool you.
Then Brooklyn come out.
I don't want it to be a situation where dudes is like, yo, this happened. But if you really think about it, you heard all the stories, but you ain't never hear nothing about the Schnickens in the middle of
It's always been quiet, and I respect that.
Always.
So
And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have your new audience and even your previous audience understand that this is deeply rooted, and it's deeply rooted in from the beginning in all 3 players. So again, the world, we're moving really fast with social media and things like that, but a lot of things as an artist, it takes great discipline, especially
Super discipline.
in a group.
Super discipline. The one thing that some artists don't think about right now, you got to think about it. If I was doing an interview and my grandparents were alive, I knew at some point in time they were seeing the interview, so I watched everything I said.
Yep.
Right? Everything I said. Enunciation was on point because I knew I'd get checked for it. All right? They'd check me for it.
I'm getting checked now.
When we did the Apollo, my grandparents were in the crowd. And I remember walking out and my grandfather said, fix your hat. Because he was in the front. He said, fix your hat. I had it tipped to the side. He said, fix your hat.
Right.
So I fixed it proper. And everybody looked at me, and I was like, "No, my grandfather."
Yep.
Even though this had nothing to do with him, he's happy that his grandson is on the Apollo, but he was like, "Nah, I didn't bring him up."
You doing
No.
Yo, fix your hat.
Not on the world stage. Your hat got to be right, son.
Thank you. Fix your hat before you rub that. Fix your hat. So
the original OG right there.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what's removed from certain things. Even in school right now, I had a conversation with some teachers about the problems that's going on in school. The balance is gone. It's like we took the power out of the adults' hands and put it in the kids' hands. So now the kids dictate how I should be taught, when I should sleep, what you should be telling me, and how I feel at this particular point, and you're not supposed to feel that way. So what sort of sense does that make as a parent and a caregiver? You're not really a parent, a caregiver. You're this there, basically.
You're a babysitter.
Right, you're a babysitter. So, yeah.
Well, sometimes it's been like that for a while, and it's to the point where kids feel that they can educate themselves and raise themselves, which is totally preposterous. But we'll get into that in a minute. But I want to ask you a question about now. Hip Hop 50 this past summer has several events, celebrating the birth of the music, and you know, and salute.
You sure
to
you want to ask me that question?
No, hold on. Let me get to it. Hold on for a second. Now, salute to everybody that did everything for Hip Hop 50, and you know, myself and Ed and Dre were part of a few things. I just wanted to get, because I'm going to start asking everybody, and I think you're the first person I'm asking, which is interesting. What do you think? How do you think it was handled?
It was
You know,
corny.
because everything, because there's been a lot of people who've been complaining. There's so many artists that of note, like yourself.
It was
You
corny.
know, they weren't really included in the celebrations for whatever reason. And I just wanted to get your take
I'm gonna give you my take.
on, you know,
Here's my
why
take.
things happened the way they happened and what you were thinking.
The Schnickens were included first and foremost. Let me be honest about that.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
the one thing that I do want to say is, if I'm part of a culture, right,
Right.
and I don't speak up for other groups, then why am I a part of it? So every time that there's beef about certain things that's happening, and I open my mouth and I say that it was corny, it's because there should have been a lot more balance.
Yep.
I would have loved to see Poor Righteous Teachers. I would have loved to see like a tribute to Tony D and certain producers that are no longer here. Like, if we're really celebrating, let's celebrate. You get what I'm saying? It's not like, it just seemed very cliquey to me. I'm saying it. I'm a grown man. If you see me in the street and you want to talk about it, we could talk about it. I don't fear nobody.
Right.
But I'm just being honest. The same. See, I saw you when. I saw you one time.
Right, you saw me once.
One time. There's no reason why I'm supposed to see you once. When it comes to the Hip Hop 50.
Of course.
With all of the groups that.
Let me tell you this. And
All right. See,
and I'm gonna.
I'm just saying,
I'm gonna put this out there right now so everybody knows. MTV for the Video Music Awards did. They did a Hip Hop 50 celebration. If you guys had a chance to watch it, you would notice that Yo MTV Raps was never mentioned.
What sense does that make?
To me, it was preposterous. But that's my own personal gripe. So,
my gripe is everybody else, right? So, okay, Wu-Tang Clan. I'm seeing Wu-Tang perform. There needed to be some awards given, for Old Dirty Bastard not being here.
Because his son is definitely
doing what he's doing.
Doing what he's doing on tour.
I don't see anybody saying anything about Tribe Called Quest, right?
And Tribe Called Quest they owned a time period in this business where they were like the hottest rap group.
But let me say something. Shout out to Marlon Rice, if you're listening. Marlon Rice, there was a 5x5 series where it was 5 boroughs, block parties that was being thrown. Marlon Rice was doing it. So he called me and was like, listen, you know how much is it going to cost for the Schnickens to do whatever? Right then and there. I was like, nah, it shouldn't be about the Schnickens. I said, yo, I got an idea. I was like, yo, no one is celebrating the native tongues, bro. Like, come on. No one is celebrating the native tongues. He was like, I'm going to call you right back. So he called me right back, got in touch with the mayor's office. There was a native tongue set that was added to the block parties. We had, Queens, Brooklyn, Jersey, or whatever. And I was like, yo, thank you for representing the culture that way. Even though Tribe is not here, it still represents the native tongue. So they got like DJ Red Alert to DJ the Jungle Brothers, and I was like, yeah, put the Jungle Brothers on the bill.
Absolutely.
Shout out to
the Jungle Brothers.
Shout out to the Bush Babies. Shout out to my boy Khalil because he had a stroke. Right?
Oh, where did he? He had a stroke?
He had a stroke.
Oh, wow.
Right. So my thing was, shout out to Marlon for saying, something. We still gonna put the Bush Babies on the show. He was able to come out on the show and touch the stage. And for me, I'm like, listen, do you know how much it took for him to stand on stage? Not only that, just for the crowd cheering, the type of energy that gave him.
Yep.
Right? So in my mind, I'm like, yo, when I looked at everything, I was like, all right, so it's Hip Hop 50. I'm seeing the same 9 groups. It's fine. If you want to book the same 9 groups, just understand my gripe. There's nothing wrong with booking the same 9 groups. There's nothing wrong with mixing new groups in there. But, shout out to DJ Cassidy because I've never seen the Sugar Hill Gang perform until we performed with them at Radio City Music Hall. I should be seeing more of Kumo D. I should be seeing more of Redman and Method Man.
Word.
I should be seeing more of Core Mega, just MCs that we could just name off the back that won't get that platform. Talk about them. We don't even know their stories really.
Right.
We don't even know what they're doing right now. And
Right.
I'm saying that right now because I remember I saw you one time and I was like, yo, why am I only seeing him once?
Right.
Only saw him once. Right? The whole summer. One time. I saw everybody else. I'm walking into places, they're like, yo, so why you mad? I'm like, yo, bro, listen, if you gonna book me, book Black Sheep. Because that same show with Marlon
question.
Rice,
No question.
I was like, Marlon, Black Sheep, Bush Babies, see if you could get Poor Righteous Teachers, see if you could get this, see if you could get that. But Poor Righteous Teachers ended up being on the show in, I want to say, the Bronx or Jersey. But I'm just saying that because if you're a part of the culture, you need to open up your mouth.
Yeah.
It's not my money. It's not my culture. I'm a part of it. I helped put a brick in there. So my thing is, yo, I want to see Onyx. Onyx was performing with us. I want to see. I just want to see everybody just enjoying themselves. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And getting the recognition that they
Getting the
deserve.
recognition that they deserve. I just think that, and I know this. I want everybody to understand. I know you can't put every group on one show, and you can't put every group on several shows. But there's a way that you could break it up where it's like if you have this show and you have these 9 artists, the next show it could be a different 9 artists.
Yep.
Right? Different 9 artists, and
But
then bring back the other artists.
They do it with these big shows like
with these
Lollapalooza,
festivals.
these festivals. You could have did Hip Hop 50 like a Lollapalooza where you had all day, whole weekend of shows for everybody. You understand?
We Were Young just happened, and that was with Blink 182 and all of them down in Vegas. That just
It's
happened.
like a Woodstock. You could have did the same thing with Hip Hop 50. It would have been sick. You know what I mean?
And it's not too late.
It's
so
not too late.
I know it's not too late. You
It's
can
not too
always
late.
do it.
All right, it's not too late. I'm not the angry MC or whatever. If y'all need Schnickens to do whatever, we gonna do whatever. But it just has to make sense at the same time. We always talking about, all right, we're going to gun violence and this and that and the other and whatever. One promoter called me and was like, yo, I want to book you to do a show. I said, please, if you're gonna book me to do a show, there's one thing I need to do. Before we perform, I want to have a conversation with the audience. Let's have that uncomfortable conversation. We're grown now. I already know what my audience looks like. Let's talk.
Word.
What's the problem? Yo, I'm going through this at home, blah, blah, blah. We could have a whole panel up here of people that you could speak to that could actually answer these questions. I feel uncomfortable going on stage and taking your money and just singing songs that you know I could sing, but I've been singing for a couple of years. What else can I actually give you? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That promoter got mad. And was like, well, I had 5 shows for you. I'm like, bro, you keep the 5 shows. I was like, yo, you're thinking about yourself. But if you're gonna bring me out, yo, bring out these other 7 groups. No one saw them. If you want to take a cut of my money, take a cut of my money. But no one saw them, right? No one saw them. My thing is this: you have to live purposeful.
Yep.
Right? You have to live purposeful. If it ain't for me and I share it with somebody else, I still won. So if I say bring these groups out and these groups come out and they rip and I don't rip, I already won.
You're one.
Yeah.
I already, because I know the
right.
story.
That's right.
They know the story. And if they open their mouth and say, well, you know something, thank you guys, but we wouldn't have been here without the. I'd rather be that person than the person that's up there just saying, all right, I'm out.
Yes.
Collect my money and I'm ghost. You know what I'm saying? I can't be that person.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Unfortunately, that's what's actually going on in so many more different ways than one. If you think about influencers and the celebrities that are out today, are you really putting in the groundwork, artist development, or now is it based upon your followers? So when you just gave the example of that promoter, he's not doing it for the culture. He's doing it for the pockets. And that is where we are always going to continue to lose, because we have people like yourself and your group that's willing to say, listen, if you could just do it under these guidelines, you could keep the money. He's on it like, nah, the money's more important than the message. And unfortunately, it's so many of them in it, and we are losing.
Well, it's been like that for quite some time. I mean, historically, it's that way. That is society in a nutshell. The money is the most important thing. Securing the future of our country, or securing the future of our people, is never really on the level of importance as the dollar sign. The dead presidents are more important than the current ones. You understand? So that's the way it is. So it takes not only Chip, but it takes a group of people to continuously have the same mindset, to drive that energy, to teach. Because if not, then it'll never change. Because cash rules everything around me.
Cream.
Right?
The money.
So Chip, so yeah, man, tell us what's next for you, bro. I know you just did an event over at York College, right?
Yeah, I did an event at York
Yeah,
College.
tell us a little about that. I'm mad I missed it. I'm sorry I missed it,
No,
man.
it's all
But
good. I mean, what we
before
did.
you
Go
get
ahead.
to the college part, because you have, I don't want to call it a workshop or organization, but you have something named MAD, spelled M-A-A-D. Is that correct?
MAATH, math.
Math.
It's an acronym for Music Appreciation, Art, Time, and Healing
That's
that
right.
I've been bringing to colleges and different high school and junior high schools because I figure that, again, living purposeful. Music helped me in my high school. When teachers were trying to talk to me, I couldn't get it. And I understand that learning nowadays is different. I had to learn different for myself. So when I was in school, I was like, well, God, I got to study for this social studies test. So what I did was write a song about the social studies class that I was in, learn the song, and be in class mumbling and passing everything. So I understood that it worked for me. So I said, something, when I get older, I'm going to try this in high schools and junior high schools. So they brought me to some suspension site schools and was like, that's the worst class down there. If you can go in there and get them to do whatever, then, we'll hire you because you're not even a teacher. I was like, I'm not a teacher. That's all right. Went down to the hallway, put a microphone in the classroom and played music, and the kids just ran up to the mic because they just wanted to hear themselves. They never heard themselves before. They only hear what we tell them. They never heard themselves. You know what I'm saying? So to finally give them that creative space to be themselves, you started hearing different things that they were going through at home that we didn't know. Like you were wondering why this kid would come to school every day because he'd be upset. You never knew he was homeless, right? Now you know he's homeless because he wrote a rhyme about being homeless and no one knew. You never knew he was hungry and that the breakfast that you had for the kids to come in there, when you threw it away, he wasn't able to, that was the only breakfast that he was able to have, or food he was able to have for that day. So I created this program to bring awareness, or to create that safe haven space for kids to be themselves, where, we could deal with the self-esteem, we could deal with the bullying, we could actually mentor directly to these kids and find out what the problems are. Because first and foremost, what happens is, in society, if the kid is not listening, it's automatically a problem and you have to get medication.
Yep.
It's not medication.
That's not the case always. I mean,
You know what I'm
people, you should not. I'm not a proponent of medication. I think, it's just a way of just keeping us quiet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So,
and not treating the problem in the proper way. You
right.
know?
So for me, it was just like, you have these kids all on medication or whatever, and sometimes that's not even it. It stems from what's going on at home. We just don't know that because we haven't put them in that space where they're comfortable. So
Right.
I created that company, Math, and it's doing well, and people are now calling us into different places, like York College called us there, and we had the Cypher, where we created a Cypher where we just wanted to bring MCs to the school, celebrate hip-hop. MCs, I never met some of these MCs, but it was just like, it's about giving you guys the platform and giving you guys the chance. And if there's MCs in the school that want to get busy, the mic and the DJs, let's get busy. So what happened was, a lot of MCs were in that school. That was shocking. And they came down with their knapsacks and their books and got online, started freestyling, and some of them was nice. I was like, well, that's dope. So the principal was like, I can't front, this was dope.
Hired.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of other colleges got in touch with me and was like, we'd like to do something like that here, because, we see these kids in these little pockets doing what they're doing, but there's no one controlling it. I said, just bring me in and let me just put something together. So I'm now starting to work on it a different way, so when it's presented, it's going to all make sense. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So the event went well for you then?
Oh, yeah, the event went well. The kids have fun. Yeah, they have fun.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And the fact that, I'm going to mix a few questions into one real quick. I just want to go back to the Shaquille O'Neal comment and just that whole era. The fact that that artist development has changed completely from before and now. What is your take on other athletes or entertainers that wanted to be rappers?
Now or back then?
Both. That's a two-part question. Because when you first started doing it, it was really only Shaq, and then you had Deion Sanders, things like that. Now, fast
Kobe
forward,
Bryant,
you got everybody
Chris
now.
Webber,
I could say this. When I was introduced to music from an athlete, I remember my father sitting in the kitchen and he was laughing at this song that came on. It was called the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was called the Super Bowl
The Chicago
Shuffle.
Bears did that song.
Chicago Bears,
Yeah.
the Super Bowl Shuffle, right? and he was in tears. And I was like, yo, what's so funny? Because I'm not even into football, but he was like, yo, look at these idiots. This is
idiot.
right. He's like, this is foolish. He was like, yo, go play football. If you know how to do football, do football. Don't do that. So I sat there and I said it then. I never forget that. I was like, yo, if I ever work with an artist, it has to sound better than that, right?
Right.
So to be given the chance years after, I was like, yo, the one thing you can't do is look like an athlete trying to rhyme.
No question. It's not going to come off right.
It's not going to come off right because you're going to look mad. Just like if somebody threw a basketball to me, I could do the 2 dribble like this and I'll hold it and pass it to somebody else because that's all I could do. I'm not going to try to do anything out of that realm of me being who I am. And with Shaq, I understood, everybody's going to be like, yo, but he's tall and he's this and that. Nah, here's what you got to do. You're the MC right now. You've always been an MC. Let the MC side come out. And I think that's where people, they make mistakes. Now, fast forward to some of the MCs now. What's the Dillard? What's his name? There's another
I can't remember all these people.
Damian Lillard.
He's nice.
Yeah, Damian Lillard.
Right? He's nice. He has the grit. He has everything. And you could see that he was an MC that played basketball or vice versa. And you got to remember, there was a time where you looked at the MCs and we looked like basketball players because we all had on jerseys.
Yeah.
We all looked like we played for some team.
Hip hop culture, right? Hip hop culture permeated through all sports.
Right. So
man,
then when
athletics.
you looked at the basketball players, they didn't even look like players when they got off the court.
Nope, they look like
MCs.
y'all.
They look like MCs. So I'm standing there going, yo, I got on this big, huge Knicks jersey, and Patrick Ewing don't even have on a jersey. You know what I'm saying? He has on a regular T-shirt, nice jewels or whatever. He's chilling. I'm just like, yo, I feel corny right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's more so of a balance right now because people are paying attention. And I think Shaq set the standard when it's just like, okay, if that's the benchmark, I got to be better than that. Right? If you're not better than that, Shaq gonna call you out. He can be like, yo, you're corny. You know, I'm the best. You know what I'm saying? So all the MCs that came out after that were, within that played
Over
sports.
Allen Iverson, over Chris Webber, over Kobe Bryant, over whoever else is trying to run. Shaquille O'Neal is king. Peace, Shaq, man. You the man, son. Do the windmills and all that, you know what I mean? And he do his thing. He DJ too. You see him?
Yeah,
He's doing
DJ.
it.
He DJs. He DJs for
Threw himself into a tree. All kinds of stuff he did.
Yeah.
Stunt man, like he with it.
So you said you had another question?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of your fans wanted to know, were you ever signed with or associated with Flavor Unit?
Yeah. Queen Latifah. Wow. Good question. Okay. We were signed to 40th Street Black, which was run by D Nice and Tony Rashawn. So Schnickens were managed by D Nice. A lot of people didn't know that. The problem that we had at the time was, remember, D Nice and I were on the same label.
That's right.
So that's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, that's a conflict, yeah.
So we had to say, how can we make this situation make sense? Shakim, shout out to Shakim. Shakim compared.
Shakim, peace, man.
Shakim was like, yo, why don't you come over to Flavor Unit? And I never forget.
Roll with Flavor.
He said, well, we throwing this party for Queen Latifah, and we need you guys to be there. I was like, Dad, how the hell we going to get it? We took the PATH train, and I think we went and we performed. After we performed, I think it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, yo, I don't even know if the PATH trains run yet.
They start about that time.
I didn't know back then. So Shakim gave me $50. He said, man, take a cab home. So I was holding this $50 and Shakim and the other two group members was like, yo, nigga, what we gonna do with the $50? I was like, no, we're gonna walk over to the PATH train. We're gonna see if the PATH train is starting, and we're gonna take the PATH train home. So we took the PATH train. I called Shakim. I was like, well, you gave interest. So he was like, yo, be up here tomorrow. So we came back up here. I gave Shakim back the $50, and we signed the Flavor Unit. He was like, yo, I like how you think. We're going to sign on the dotted line. You're part of Flavor Unit management or whatever. He was like, because it wasn't about the money. It was about your focus.
Yeah.
And your integrity.
Again, you signed the Flavor Unit.
Yeah, that's respect. And they were interested in you after that, for sure.
Latifah came in, she changed up everything. She went to Jive and was like, yo, change up their contract, man. This is garbage. Make sure these guys eat right. They took good care of us, you know what I'm saying?
Salute to Latifah, man. That's my girl right there.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Latifah's mom,
Miss Owens, Miss Rita Owens.
Yeah, Miss Owens was like my industry
angel.
mother.
She's my auntie too.
Yeah, she was like my industry mother. I'd come there, she'd say, Chippy, come upstairs. And I come upstairs and I sit down with her and she have these conversations. And I'm glad that she would talk to me. Because it's like she was like, you know something, I'm gonna instill something in this kid right here. And take this information, be smart. When you're doing your next album, make sure that, we come in and we redo the contracts to make sure that they reflects whatever, And I think that when I had these conversations with Jive, they were upset because they were like, how old are you? I was like, yeah, I'm 19. And it's like, well, how you know all this stuff? I'm like, because I listen. And
Right.
we're not bringing that other lawyer in here. Queen Latifah's coming in here with her lawyers to take care of everything. And I told
Mama Owens.
Yeah, Mama Owens. She was like, that's right, Chippy. You go in there, you let them know. I was like, that's, you know what I'm saying? And
Mama Owens was really official,
Yeah.
man. She was always cool.
Miss her dearly.
She was good. She was good to us,
She
too.
took care of me. Yeah.
But
How was that video shoot though? Because you're missing a key element. A lot of people slept on the Roll with Flavor song. So
Roll
talk
with the
about
Flavor,
it. And who was on it? Tretch. You had so many.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Yep.
Remember, you gotta remember, Flavor Unit now is now getting all these groups together. Now you're not knowing who's gonna get along with who, right? So we all heard of the stories about Freddie Fox, right?
AKA Freddie C, AKA Freddie. That's my man.
AKA Bumpy Knuckle.
Oh, good. That's right, Bumpy Knuckles.
Right? So I remember walking into the session and D Nice was like, go. I was like, what? He's like, yo, you can't come in here. I was like, nah, man, I'm coming in the session. So I heard somebody say, what the fuck you doing in my session? But when I'm looking in this, the thing, you can't see anything because the lights is out. I was like, what? Whatever. So I started talking to D, and D was like, yo, get out, whatever. So I didn't leave.
Oh, you didn't?
So
Okay.
D played Freddie Fox's verse. So I'm listening to the verse, and Freddie is looking at me. I'm listening to the verse, and I was like, I pressed the thing,
The cue
right?
button.
The thing, and I was like, yo, you should put some ad-libs on that. So he comes out of the booth now. The fuck you say about? But I'm not scared because this is my truth. Like, I'm going to stand on my truth. Like, I didn't say anything disrespectful. I was like, no, you should put some ad-libs on these parts right here.
Right.
He stood there and he looked at me, and D was like, oh, shit. D turned his head like, yeah, it's about to go down. Freddie Fox was like, yo, take your ass up in there and do it then. I saw it. So I went in there. I brought the group in there. I said, yo, run that part back. So he ran it back. I said, Freddie, we're going to do it in these 3 parts. He said, yo, I'm listening. We did it. Played it back. He listened. He was like, yo, that's dope. I came back in there, and when I came back in there, Freddie was like, from today on, if you ever call my name for anything, I'm there. I was like, all right, cool. But I'm just thinking I'm doing my job as we're all together as Flavor Unit. But, I didn't know about the twin Glocks and all this other stuff till D Nice told me after. He was like, yo, that's Freddie Fox be running up in there. I was like, well, I didn't know about that.
That's what I meant.
So I think the innocence and him understanding, like, yo, he came in there and told me something that nobody else told me.
They was probably scared.
And and made the, whatever. He was like, yo, from today on, if you have any problems, it is what it is. So one day I was like, yo, we performing at the Palladium. I was like, yo, Freddie Fox, why don't you come to the Palladium, man? We performing. He was like, I'm going to be there. I had a friend who was standing in the front. And I remember I was mic checking, and I was like, yo, I need some gum. My friend threw the gum on stage, and it hit me. All I saw was him being hoisted in the air and carried back to the dressing room, and he's kicking and screaming. And I'm like, Freddie, no. Like,
Don't get him.
The flavor. Listen, I love that about them. That it was serious. It was serious family business.
And where they from? Jersey. Come on, man.
Business. I saw my friend kicking and screaming, and I'm trying to perform, and I'm like, no, put him down. I'm saying my first. No, put him down. I was like, yo, but from that day on, I was like, yo, it's really family.
You can get killed over a stick of gum.
Brick City is a real place, sir.
Salute the Flavor Unit. Salute the Queen Latifah, Shaq Kim, and my guy Freddie Fox.
Freddie Fox.
I go back with Freddie Fox to before he was Freddie Fox, before he was Bumpy Knuckles. That's why I said Freddie C. We go back like Camel Hump, Sway Fronts, you know.
That's my boy.
We go back, man, for real. So peace out to all of y'all.
And I know we got to get ready to wrap this up.
No question.
But what's going on with the rest of your members? Where are they? How can they be found? Y'all still cool?
We all cool. We just did a few shows for the summer for this Hip Hop 50. But, you know, there's certain shows we wouldn't take because certain promoters were actually figuring that since we didn't do shows in a minute that they could just get us for certain, you know, whatever. But, you know, sometimes, you know, it makes sense to stand as a group and be like, nah, because we understand that if it's not going to be done to us, it's going to be done to somebody else.
Exactly. So you got to stand for your rights.
Yeah.
Makes
So everything is cool with the group.
So tell us a little bit about where they can find you guys.
They can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, Chip Fool. Brand new album coming out. Samples are being cleared. Name of the album is called Royal Blood. It is crazy. I can't wait for everybody to hear it. And it's not what you guys think it is. That's all, I'm dead serious. It's not what you guys think it is. Shout out to all the A&Rs. Shout out to everybody that's a part of it, all the producers. You know, I'm tired of being quiet about it because, you know, I wanted to perform.
Is it going to be traditional for Schnickens with the style? Are you changing the style up?
That's the thing. It's me. There's certain sides of myself I was not able to talk about it or people to know about.
Right.
Because I was in the group, I was supposed to only do my 16 and that was it. Yeah, you do your 16 bars and sing the chorus and that's that. But to have an album of me being able to just showcase other sides of myself, I think that it's time and.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible.
Well, salute to you. Salute to you, and my brother. Thank you very much for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
This is my man, Chip Fool, the great Chip Fool in the building. Fruit Schnickens in the house. And you're watching the T-Money podcast joint with the man T-Money in the building. I understand that. And we're here with Ciara Ross as well.
Hey, y'all. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that.
That's right. Peace, 2 fingers, and we out, man.
Peace.
All right.
T-Money podcast joint with Ciara.